Hey Seeker, welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life by mastering the law of attraction. So cool. My name is Talia, and I'm committed to cutting the fluff and showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to crack the code on manifestation, amplify your intuition, and play in the quantum, we are now besties. Let's do this. Oh, hey, hello there. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. My name is Talia Joy. I am over the moon, excited, big smiling, ecstatic, stoked to be here today. I love this podcast. I love you. I love connecting in this way. I love that you're a like-minded seeker here to navigate this awakening journey and create a life of everything that you're meant to be. I thank you for spending this time on yourself, this time with me, for spending this time on yourself, or for integrating me into your day, whatever you are doing right now. I honor you. You're such a seeker, knee deep. I love that you're into this growth, expansion, healing, intuition, manifestation, all the things. I am here for it. You're here for it. I'm excited. So today's episode, we're talking about something I call the tipping point, and we're going to dive into what that is and how it is such a beautiful catalyst for change, how we can have tipping points in very big, like our entire life, or it can be in section sort of areas of our life, such as relationships or our health or our money. We're going to talk all about that, what it is, what I suggest you do, and we're going to deliver well, it is spiritual. I was going to say, we're going to deliver a special message on how this is a very important energetic time and a very important time for your soul when you get to these tipping points. So I cannot wait to dive into that. Before we do, I want to let you know about a couple workshops coming up that I am really excited about. If you're listening to this in fairly real time, I have a full moon release and workshop coming up on August 29th. That is the day before the full moon. This one is a super moon. This one is a blue moon. This one is the one that is closest to the earth all year. So it's going to be a massive full moon. It has lots of deep introspective Pisces energy, which already goes with the deep introspective energy of the moon. So this is one where you are deeply receptive to release, and I'm going to help you we're going to workshop a little bit in the beginning of it to go through what's been coming up lately, looking at your goals, what is asking to be released. We're going to do this in a very sacred, safe, beautiful way, move into a releasing ceremony. So it's going to be about 2 hours. I'm so excited. It's an evening workshop. Make sure to check that below if you're interested. It's just called Full Moon, a workshop and release, and I cannot wait to see you there. Also coming up in a couple weeks is the free event Healing to Manifest. It's a 2-day live event that I'm going to be hosting on Instagram, also uploaded to the podcast right away. So you can just tune into that as it comes out. It's called Healing to Manifest, day 1 and day 2. But if you officially register, you'll get a copy of the workbook, and I have a special meditation for you. So links for that, again, is below. That's called Healing to Manifest, a free event. Also coming up is a deep dive manifestation workshop called Manifest Now, where I'm going to teach you the formula of manifestation, and we're going to workshop it. We're really going to go through in real time what you have been asking for in your life, whether it's tangible or it's more emotional or states of being, ways you want to feel. Maybe it's physical things. We're going to go through the process. You're going to get so much more clear on what you need to do. We're also going to have an energy activation ceremony in that workshop as well. That's called Manifest Now, a workshop coming up in a couple weeks. So all the links are below as always. You'll also see the link for Activated, my signature 8-week program that is launching the end of September. So as of right now, you can get on the waitlist if you wish to be first notified, to get the lowest price. That is my signature growth portal, basically how to do the work to manifest, to learn the manifestation formula, to learn deeper healing and activation. It's everything. So you can see that down there as well. Also down there, there are the links to my Instagram. I would love to see you over on Instagram if I haven't already, as well as the freebie library, a place where I have some free resources for you. And there's a bunch of other things down there. My manifestation coloring book, the manifestation apparel store, and so much more. So you can just check that out, peruse the show notes at your leisure. And let's dive into today's episode, the tipping point. So this is, to first set the scene, the tipping point is the place in your journey where you become really actually energetically ready to make a change. So the tipping point can come it can come through maybe an exciting or like liberating or healing experience. Maybe you have a plant medicine experience where you have a realization or a healing, session, and you really like see something, or you're so deeply inspired to change your ways or to change an aspect of your life, or you gain clarity and you're like, that's it. I'm going to put up more boundaries, or I'm leaving this relationship, or I'm going to start my own business, or whatever it is. We have that click, that moment of click. The tipping point also can come from more of like a rock bottom situation where we're just ready, we're just done. If you listen to that episode a while back called When You're Sick of Your Own Shit, it's basically there where you are done. So this is where manifestation, growth, awakening, healing, this is where it gets really real. This is where we are finally getting ready to move out of the limited beliefs, out of the quote unquote old self or the wounding, the patterns, and into a new life, new possibility, new success. So this could be, as I mentioned earlier, in one area of your life, such as health, where you get to a tipping point and like, that's it. And then you actually get ready to shed what has been holding you back, to shed those beliefs or get to the bottom of the self-sabotage or whatever it is. Or maybe it's your entire life. It's like, I have to change my life. I am changing. I am, everything's got to go, or I need a drastic change in some way. So just actually to back up even a little bit more to kind of intro this a little bit, in the process of manifestation, the way that things evolve, manifestation is kind of very similar to evolution and transformation and awakening. These things are all very similar. So what I mean by that is we start somewhere and then we end up in a sort of quote unquote higher place. So with awakening or with transformation, we start off in this place where we're either like not woke, not awakened. Maybe we're, really in the ego or whatever it is. Or in the process of transformation, we start in the undesirable place, the lack of health or addiction or some sort of like struggle we're going through. And as you move your way out of it, it's a process, because at first, and again, this is the same as manifestation. At first, we have a yearning for something different, but we are in the same energy as what created the problem. It's like how they say the same mind that created the problem can't think its way out of the problem because it is the problem, for sort of lack of better words. So we want something different, but we're embedded in our beliefs and struggles that kind of got us there in the first place. So for an example, maybe addiction. And I have dealt with this myself. I know people, clients that have, a lot of us have. It's something that you might get to the point where you have to give up drinking or drugs or become sober or whatever it is. And you want to so bad, but you are so embedded in the addiction or in the inner narrative of like, nobody cares, I'm unimportant, I'm a failure, like whatever it is deep down that's fueling that, you still have that alive and well within you, meaning like that belief is still running the show. So there's this very uncomfortable place. So same if you think of manifestation, a little less heavy, but I want to start my own business, but I don't know how. I don't know what to do. I have a 9-to-5 right now, whatever it is. There's that time when like we're just sitting in like, I want to, but I can't. Who am I to do that? Or I don't know what to do. Basically, it's this place where we have a yearning, but we're also stuck in our limits. And that's so uncomfortable. That's the beginning of the process. And that happens in awakening. We want something new, but we're so stuck in our old ways that's when we usually find like healing work or shadow work, or go deeper, hire a mentor, read books, do more self-discovery, because we realize like, oh crap, like I'm suffocated by my old ways of doing things, my old beliefs, my old narratives, but I want something new. So this is is where the tipping point comes in. So think of those examples I use, like addiction or awakening or manifestation. I know they seem all so different, but it's really not, right? We edge our way up to wanting something so bad that finally we get to this place where we say, fuck it. I have great episodes. You could look up previous using exercising your fuck it muscle. They have 2 episodes on that. So you could search, you could Google like Talia Joy fuck it muscle or something, which is maybe very weird. Maybe don't click images. Maybe don't Google that actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But you could just look back in the podcast. It's like we get to that place where we just go like, that's it. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? I'm sick and tired of struggling. I don't care what it takes. And this is the tipping point. So many of my clients are at this place when they come to me. Some of them have already created, success in some ways, or they already have a successful business, but they're feeling more and more suffocated by it, or it's not working. They're not making a lot of money, or personally they're really unhappy. So it's not always a rock bottom, like I'm losing everything and my life is being flushed down the drain. It's just a tipping point where you are finally ready to move out of the limiting beliefs, the limited beliefs about your old self, and into a new life of possibility. And first, in the tipping point, what is about to come is not easy. Because we get to that tipping point and maybe, it is something like a change of life, a change in your diet, a change in, whatever it is, healing or something. And then we go, okay, F it, I'm ready, I'm doing it. And then we have to enter the breaking down of who we were. And so we're going to talk about that too. But a really beautiful quote that I'm sure you've heard, because I spew it here all the time. You may have heard it elsewhere as well. But it's Ananas Nin, and it says, the day came where the risk to remain tight in a bud was more than the risk it took to blossom. So the day came where the risk to remain tight in a bud was more than the risk it took to blossom. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the tipping point. And sometimes we need to dig deep and focus on our goals of feeling better, of manifesting more, of having impactful businesses, of being everything we're meant to be, to fuel us through, because the tipping point surges us into willingness and into looking at what needs to be released. But there's a lot of work ahead as well. So if you are in a place, or if you're feeling like that's surging within you, to be in a place where you're just like, F it, I don't care what it takes. I am ready to make more money, to heal my gut issues, to heal my mom issues, to, deal with this thing, to make this change in my life, and you get to that place, what is going to start happening is the universe initiates you. And this is, I can't wait for you to read my book. It takes you through this process of awakening. But after we get to this tipping point where the risk to remain tight in a bud is more than it takes to blossom, we will start to see what needs to go. Because if you've been asking for abundance, for health, for ease, for partnership, for success, anything that you've been asking for, the answer will come in the breakdown of what you have been operating in. So whenever I've asked for more money, especially that was the focus for so long in my business and in my life, it was like money stuff. Every time I would ask for a new level of income, I would become face to face with my deep feelings of lack, with the persistent feeling of never enough, never enough. And I had to look at that and I had to heal that so that I could welcome in more abundance. So this tipping point feels like, okay, I'm going to make a change, and then it's all uphill from there. But really the next step after that tipping point where you're knee deep is really addressing what has been in your way. And I just want to take a second here to say that when we talk about healing work, it can be really scary, especially if you've experienced abuse. There's traumatic things that have happened that maybe you've never talked about, or you have talked about, but they still are a wound inside. It can feel really scary. And in the work I do with my clients, we talk about their wounds because they end up sharing like the story of, their childhood and how they grew up. It's always really interesting to me. But that's not all we focus on. And it's actually more about the ripple effect of what your upbringing or your trauma or your teenagehood or whatever did to you, like the effect that it had. So if you had a a parent that was not around, we don't have to dissect the parent that was not around and have all the work being about that. It's actually about, okay, that showed you that you were not worthy of love, or if you were more special, they would have stuck around, or that, you are not deserving of love or someone to be loyal to you, which is just not true. And I love you. And, I have all the love and compassion for this stuff because I have my wounds too. So it's more about when you get to this tipping point, it's not always going to be that you're called to go back into your mom issues. It's the ripple effect of what they've caused in you, the insecurity, the lack of believing that your needs are important, the giving to others and becoming depleted, or not having boundaries. Do you know what I mean? So it's you work. The healing work is you work. The healing work is taking you into a place where you know you are worthy of beautiful nutrition and moving your body and drinking water and having community or taking alone time or making the money you want, charging what you want in your business. It's all about you knowing you're worthy. So when you get to this tipping point of like, F it, I'm doing it, you are going to be face to face with generally your unworthiness. Like, anyone who starts a business and they put out posts or they put out an offer and nobody buys, or they go live and it has like 3 views, immediately it tends to trigger on like, oh, I'm not inspiring, I'm not worthy, who am I? Those are the things that are going to come up as you reach that tipping point. So the tipping point and the point where everything turns isn't all the glamour. The glamour is coming, I promise you. But at first, we really need to address what is underneath. And the law of attraction states that you cannot attract something to you if you are not in vibrational alignment with it. In order for something to fully manifest into your reality, you have to be in physical, emotional, and spiritual alignment, or else it can't be created. So as I'm saying, for money, if you're desiring more money, but you have persistent financial fears and anxieties and beliefs, you will be asked to examine them in your highest good. So these triggers are not you doing something wrong or the universe hating you. It's actually in your highest good for you to see that, like, hey, we want to deliver you the millions, but this persistent I don't have enough is overriding the channel, and we can't get your millions to you because you've got too much of I have no money blocking up the airways. Do you know what I mean? So when there is that tipping point, this is the place where, as I say, we become sick of our own shit, sick of the patterns, sick of being sick. And this place is a huge catalyst for change. So one of my big tipping points was in regards to my health and my eating disorder is, I have talked about this before, but I had a moment where, after being in an eating disorder for over 10 years, and I was just suffocated by all of the rules about low carb, low sugar, low this, low that, weighing myself all the time. It got really, really bad. I've shared more in depth with this about my journey. Doing drugs to not eat, over exercising. I caused myself a seizure. I would get lightheaded and basically pass out fairly often. I was losing my hair. It became a really kind of scary scene. And when I reached my rock bottom, I was so intertwined with like dieting and still feeling like I had to be skinny or lose weight. You might hear my kid in the back. They're having cleaning day, and 4-year-olds don't have volume knobs. There he is, right on cue. But I was still very intertwined in the eating disorder. However, I had this higher awareness one day, and I know it was spirit, but they showed me this higher awareness of what I was doing to myself. And I got this feeling of like, oh my God, I'm killing myself. Like, I knew that I was killing myself. I knew that I had reached a rock bottom, and the risk of staying there was way too high. I knew internally that what I had been doing was killing myself mentally, physically, spiritually. So I was terrified and unsure and no idea what to do, but there was no other option in my mind, because I knew I wasn't meant to go out that way. I knew that I was meant for so much more, and I was in this trap of like, I look at it like addiction or something. It's like, oh, I'll quit tomorrow, but for right now I need a hit. Like, that was always what it felt like. Like, oh, tomorrow I won't control so much, but for right now I'm going to control. I could just keep this going. And then that took over, so much time. So I knew that I couldn't go on counting calories, diet plans, logging stuff, calories, starving myself. I knew I couldn't overexercise, restrict my food anymore. I couldn't do these things because it was killing me. And so I knew that I had to do this differently. And from the inside, I knew I had to start to be guided by my heart and my intuition. I've shared with you guys before I had that realization. I was literally making a salad and I was adding up all the different calories from like nuts and this and that and the overwhelm of like fats and this and that. And I just like lost it and I crumbled to the floor and I had a total panic attack. And in that moment, I was just in desperation and I just uttered out like, help me, please help me. Like whoever's listening, help me. And I heard, now again, I know it's my spirit team. I didn't know at the time, but I heard the wisdom come through and they said, love yourself and the rest will fall into place. And I was terrified, but I knew that I had to do something a different way. So I was scared I was going to gain weight. I was scared that I was going to just like eat a bunch of Doritos and never leave the couch, that I would have to give up on my dreams of being fit. But I knew that I had to try a different way. So for you, it might not be food or weight or an eating disorder, but when you know, like this has to change. And sometimes we reach at manifestation to hope to change something, but we're avoiding doing the work inside. Like I just really just wanted money forever. I thought it would take away all my problems. And then as I've shared before, there's times I manifested large amounts out of nowhere. And then the next day I'd be stressed about money or about my body. And I realized that money doesn't take away my problems. And so we're continuously guided in, but maybe you're at a place right now where you know you can't keep going the way you are and you're at your personal tipping point. And I felt like a mess in that tipping point. Not all of them are this messy, but that one, I felt deeply broken. I feel lost. I didn't even feel like I knew how to eat like a quote unquote normal person is what I would say. I felt alone. I felt scared. I felt unlovable. I hated my body. I felt shame for the way I'd been living my life. Shame around the secrets and the drugs and the pills and the lies and the everything. I would hyperventilate whenever I thought about moving forward with no plan, with no calorie restriction thing, with no pills, with no ephedrine. Does anyone remember that? I would hyperventilate at the thought of trusting in myself to find a way, to find my way with food and exercise and all that. So it was never easy, and dismantling these long-running beliefs is not easy. But that tipping point helps to fuel you forward to go like, but is it worth it? Is it worth it, right? I say this all the time, like, I'd rather heal than hustle. Is the healing work easy? No. But to me, it's harder to stay stuck. The thought of leaping is scary, but the thought of never leaping to me is more terrifying. So you're going to be asked in this journey to dismantle. And I know you already have. I know you're not new to the healing work or the self-development work, but you're going to sometimes feel like you have no freaking clue what to do. Or what does that mean to come like back to myself and release these old beliefs? It's not easy. So in this phase after the tipping point, and this is part of the goo phase, by the way, if any of you have heard my goo phase episodes, and this is in the book, but in the goo phase, this is that in between where you're not where you were, but you're not yet where you're going. And the tipping point is right in there. And so this goo phase is the stages, the beginning stages of you actively coming back to your truth and your power and your healing. So you think of these tipping points as like your soul is kind of busting through. This is how I teach like rock bottoms. This is orchestrated by your soul to bust through, same as the dark night of the soul. It's orchestrated to be able to bust through and be able to reach you. Sometimes a breakdown is a crack open. So these tipping points and these moments of like effort and like vulnerability. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to release these. I don't know how, but I'm now starting to see that there's some things in my way, or that I'm really focused on lack, or that I'm scared. Like it could be really, really deep, or it could just be more surface. Why do I keep neglecting myself? That's not even surface. That is deep. But you start to see these things in these tipping points of like, that's it. I need to look after myself. I need to look after my health. Okay, why don't I look after my health already? Right? That's the thing. So if you're at a tipping point with your health or your weight or a condition or something, and it's like, that's it. It's not about looking for the new supplement. It's about asking yourself, why wasn't I looking after my health? Like my eating disorder, healing that wasn't about just eating more often and finding out how to eat. It was about deeply reconciling and healing the parts inside of me that felt broken. So the goo phase is all about coming back to your truth, but also coming face to face with what isn't true for you. These beliefs that you've gathered about yourself are not true, or even that money is hard to make. Like these beliefs we have that are not conducive with where we're going. Who am I to do this? I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm too sensitive. I feel bad. Whatever it is, it's like we need to strip away what is no longer working, right? I've been talking about this a lot lately. And this is because we've created a lot of our life around things that are not even true for us, around false constructs, around disempowering relationships, around choices made from unworthiness. And I don't even mean like our whole lives are chaos, but often like we have friends or family that we don't have boundaries, or we've created relationships where you feel like it's much more give than take, or you fall into habits that aren't fully supporting you, but it's just become automatic. Like it's these things, right? We've created our life around a lot of like coping mechanisms and trauma responses and all that stuff, which is fine. We don't even need to like strip away everything. But what they're asking here is for you to question the things that are in your life. Are they authentically true for me? What are you asking to release, or what is being asked of you to release? What is the universe asking you to let go of? Beliefs, things, situations, dynamics, maybe people. And it's not about cutting people out, but it's about moving forward with alignment and authenticity. Does that make sense? So a couple more things I want to say, and then we're just going to wrap up. But this tipping point is a really important place in your journey. So if you're there, declare it to the universe. Go, okay, universe, I'm at my tipping point with health, with business. I am ready to step into that next level. I'm ready for more XYZ. Freedom, abundance, fulfillment, ease, joy, healing, vitality, sparkle, fun, wealth, and having this declaration between you and spirit, between you and your soul, your highest self, whatever feels the best for you, going, I am at that tipping point. Show me what is next, what needs to go. And then watch through these lenses, the lens of what I'm talking about here. So being curious about what rigid beliefs are going against exactly what you desire. And it might be a rigid belief, it might be a wound, it might be both, it might be a response you've had. And I like to think of limited, like people talk about limiting beliefs. And I know when I started all this work, it was like, what are my limiting beliefs? And I wanted someone to like decode me. But really, it's any belief that limits you is limiting. Even when people talk about, oh, like there's not as many clients right now because after COVID, people aren't investing in themselves. It's like, yeah, I get it. And there probably are people that aren't investing in themselves after COVID and the economy, but there's also lots of people investing in themselves. So if we go through life going like, oh, well, right now it's not really realistic to ask for new clients because people aren't really investing in themselves, that's a limiting belief. Or, oh, I'm not really, that good compared to that other teacher. Or my art is just kind of ho-hum. Anyone can do that, right? Anyone can do that art. Or I'm not really that great as a mom or whatever. It's these limiting beliefs. I'm not really a this person. I can't really do that. This is too hard. I've never been good with this. I've never been able to do that. That's not for me. That's not for people like me. People like me don't get famous or whatever it is, right? Even when it comes to health, and I only speak about this like firsthand, where are you feeling limited in your health? Like, have you been told you have something that is either incurable or there's nothing anybody can do, and that feels limiting to you? So in my journey of having something that is technically incurable, I tell myself all the time, there are lots of things I can do and I'm discovering them. Extra rest, magnesium, exercise, yoga, emotional healing. There's lots I can do to heal this instead of the opposite, which is there's nothing we can do, which is what doctors say. So we really want to start looking at where are we limiting ourselves in our healing? And when you get to this tipping point, the next step after tipping point isn't miracle. The next step after tipping point is seeing what has been in your way, where you're neglecting yourself, where you're believing things that are directly contradicting to what you want. And then you have the choice to heal through them. And once you heal through them, it's a formula. You will get what you're asking for. That is the manifestation formula. And I'm just going to give one last example. So I know I've been talking a lot about retreats, and you guys know that that is in my cards. That is what I'm actively working on right now. And I'm so excited. And I've also shared how it's been really scary. It's brought up a lot in me, a lot of fears of being seen, a lot of old fears around my body or around not being inspiring enough or around whatever. So I desired so deeply, I've had it in my vision for 10 years to host retreats. I desire it so deeply, and every time I go to do it, I get like frozen with fear. So I take that situation, and when I get hungry enough, which happened a few months ago, where I'm like, F it, put me in the arena. I want to gather in circle and transformative, life-changing events. I want to do this. I'm ready for this. And then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of stuff started coming up. Actually, in the last episode, I shared about all the body stuff in the mirror. To give backstory, that was right after I said, fine, I'm at my tipping point with these retreats. I'm ready. I'm scared. I'm scared shitless, but I'm ready and I'm excited. And I've been planning them out for years. Like, oh my goodness, it's going to be so epic. And then I started becoming I started coming face to face with the wounded part of me that had these things that were subconsciously holding me back. And as I move through them, I become a clear channel to go, okay, let's do this. And we're looking at venues and we're looking at dates and we're like, yeah, because we clear away what has been stopping us. And then we get to have it. It's so simple. It's not easy to do the work, but it's simple. So wrapping this up, my love, thank you for listening today. So you're at your tipping point. It's time to look at the bigger picture. This is an unfolding. This is a liberation for you. This is a chance to move through. This is a chance to grow through what you go through and try to know, either tap into that deepest part of you that knows, or tap into the deepest part of me that knows and let my faith carry you. That on the other side of healing that resistance, you get to have the thing you want. Spirit wants that for you. Your spirit team wants that for you. That's already meant for you. It's already destined, or you wouldn't be craving it. You wouldn't be wanting it if it wasn't in your vortex. It's in your vortex. But the universe is also asking you to keep on this healing journey and keep on this opening up journey and this becoming an alignment journey, which ultimately leads you to becoming everything your soul intended, to living free in your life. Yes, it transfers into abundance, but it's also emotional freedom, freedom in your body, freedom in your schedule, feeling really good in your life, feeling aligned, feeling clicked in, seeing all the 111s, just feeling so in sync. That is what you came here for. So keep on the journey, my love. It's an honor to support you. If you feel the call to go deeper with me, you can always reach out. Right now, I have 2 spots for one-on-one work. And I also have activated, as I mentioned in the beginning, coming up the end of September, which is this. It's the healing manifestation, quantum manifestation. It's all of it. It's activating who you truly are, healing what you're not, and stepping into next level embodiment, law of attraction, manifestation. It is so good. So if you want to hop on the waitlist, you can. Otherwise, I will see you in the next episode, my love. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I truly hope that it served you and helped to move the needle forward in your life. So before you go, I want to ask if you are looking for some new practices, if you need a little meditation for some stress, or you're looking to get unblocked. If this is you, I want to invite you into the freebie library. Yes, it's free. It contains an Awakening Her daily practice, a meditation for stress, a guide to help get unblocked, as well as a scripting manifestation exercise to use the power of the quantum to literally script out your future. So if you're looking to get a little bit more mojo in your manifestations, I welcome you into the freebie library. It's going to help to move you forward and give you some extra tools in your tool belt. So check the links below and dive in now.